I know there's some hot tea that's about to be spilled, okay, during the conclave.
The solemn formal farewell.
All the girlies from literally all around the world are coming together to do some hot goss
to Pope Francis. A mass.
All right.
We have just witnessed the final goodbye to
Let's
the
look at the
people's
Pope real quick
Pope
while I go
Francis
pee.
earned that name close to the faithful, even insisting that when he would lie in state in the Vatican after his death, that his coffin be low to the ground so that those who would come to pay their respects could see him. And they did come, an estimated 250,000 over 3 days.
And about just as many people filled St. Peter's Square this morning. The crowd's overflowing for his funeral mass. Screens were set up outside the square so more people could see. Attending the funeral, some of the most powerful people in the world. 2 American presidents, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Dozens of heads of state, royalty there too. Prince William representing King Charles. After the mass, though, something that has not been seen in over 100 years. This right there. Pope Francis taken on his final journey, a procession winding through the streets of Rome.
Yeah, just incredible to witness this. And all attention next will go to that secret conclave to choose the next pope to begin in the first or second week of May. The man they choose will have great power over the direction of the church, the 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide, and the future of Pope Francis's legacy of inclusivity and his championing of those less fortunate. We have team coverage in Vatican City this morning. We're going to begin with ABC's senior national correspondent, Terry Moran. Terry, such an emotional morning.
Who is this news for? Brother, what are you talking about? The entire Catholic population on the planet, which is like what, 1.4 billion or something? Like a pretty large number of people all around the world are kind of laser focused on this. I mean, first of all, even the non-Catholic Pinoy gang, okay? Everyone that is even part Filipino, they're laser focused. Let me tell you something, okay? Pope Tagle sounds good. I'm as an honorary Pinoy gang, as an honorary Swagapino, I'm excited for it. Is the Pope the Khalifa for Catholics? Yes, he is the caliphate. Yes.
Truly, Rianne, and good morning. On this beautiful spring morning in Rome, more than 250,000 people came here to St. Peter's Square to say a final farewell to Pope Francis and to hear the High Mass. An ancient ritual, of course, that means so much to ordinary Catholics. It's a moment that drew world leaders and ordinary faithful and all kinds of people, young and old, who just felt close to this remarkable man who led the world's 1.3 billion Catholics for 13 years.
It's crazy that everybody's glazing him, but like, I feel like when he was alive, HasanAbi's cardinal bias, yeah, this is my cardinal bias for sure. Dude, there was a really funny TikTok I saw that made me really reconsider everything. I saw someone doing fan cams of like the possible progressive popes, the possible progressive cardinals that could become popes. I was like, I feel like we're in a weird place. Okay. We are in a weird place, man. Wait, let me see if I can find it actually. Hold on. I got to show this to you because this is so dumb. But also I liked it and I reposted it. I liked it and I reposted it because I'm dumb. Hold on. Let me see. Drag the puzzle piece into place. God damn it. I hate these fucking. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Dude. This is a bit much. Okay. This is a bit rich for my blood, but honestly. Dude, come on. Kawaii filter on the on Pope gang. Kawaii filter on the Cardinals. Dude, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. We have come a long way in our evolution as mankind across the board. Because like if you show this to a medieval peasant, you're getting burned at the stake. Okay. The Inquisition is coming after you and burning you alive. Think about that. Like, we're talking, this is possibly blasphemy territory. Like, are we blaspheming? Amazing. I love it personally. I think it's awesome. I'm glad. Yes, if you enjoy this, you're going to hell. I guess I'm going to hell then because I'm blaspheming. Or as the chatter pointed it out, blaspheming. Okay, what is this?
Next Friday, the eliminated queens go head-to-head in the splashiest Lollapalooza yet.
Our eliminated queens will battle it out for the cash tip of $50,000.
Okay, this actually works really well because, like I've said this before, but there's a lot of, I mean, it's very queer coded. Like the Vatican is gay as, and I don't mean like, oh, they're, you know, having man-on-man sex, which they are, but that's not even what I'm talking about. Like the pageantry of it all is very drag queen, drag race.
$1,000. Let the lip sync Lollapalooza begin.
RuPaul's Drag Race, all new next Friday at 8. Next Friday,
Anyway, let's continue.
Years. This morning in St. Peter's Square.
Yeah, they're literally hiding themselves away to have a massive gossip sesh, like let me in. I know there's some hot tea that's about to be spilled, okay, during the conclave.
The solemn formal farewell.
All the girlies from literally all around the world are coming together to do some hot goss.
To Pope Francis, a mass attended by a vast crowd for the man who led the world's 1.3 billion Catholics for 13 years. Thousands of mourners from all over the world filled St. Peter's Square, with many lining up since dawn for a chance to attend the ceremony.
I can hardly stand up, but this is incredible. This is the chance of a lifetime to see this.
Many who waited through the night sprinted to the square, hoping to secure a prime spot. Heavy security watched over the gathered crowd.
Yeah, Girly Pop Nation is out. It's more like Girly Pope Nation, okay?
Crowds. Francis died on Monday morning following a stroke after that unforgettable final appearance on Easter Sunday.
The final image we have of him, which will remain etched in our memory, is that of last Sunday, Easter Sunday, when Pope Francis, despite his serious health problems, wanted to give us his blessing from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica.
From the balcony. Balcony.
After his death,
Catholicism is so great for the Filipinos that divorce is still illegal. Meanwhile, contraceptives, sex education, and family planning were only implemented in 2012, and the Catholic Church protested to this day. Yeah, but this Filipino Catholic Pope is actually woke. So I think it would be good for Pinoy gang in general. Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Everything I know about Swagapino gang is that Pinoy gang goes nutty mode, okay? When there is anyone of any prominence with like 1% Filipino in them, okay? The entire country will be up in arms. They will be following the note of whatever this person says. Now, when we talk about like the Pope, which is automatically the leader, the de facto leader of 1.3 billion people around the planet, that person being Pinoy gang, like, I feel like if the Pinoy gang Pope turned around and said, honestly, I think we need to implement socialism. That's it. The entire Philippines is socialist. Okay? There is a awesome level of power and prominence that this person has. He could just like flip the script entirely, dropping the one bastion in the South China Sea that America is using against Chinese interests in the region.
The Pope lay in state for 3 days in St. Peter's Basilica, where the Vatican says more than 250,000 people came to pay their respects. Last night, a moving ritual, the rite of the closing of the coffin, a white silk cloth placed gently over the Pope's face, a deed recounting the accomplishments of Francis's papacy put in a metal tube in his coffin.
By the way, the grave, like the coffin being this, is deliberate. He wanted to have like a very humble, like he wanted to have like the most basic wood casket you can have on purpose.
Coffin, a bag of coins minted during his papacy as well, all part of the ancient ritual. The coffin was sealed, then nailed shut. The Pope had requested that he be laid to rest at the Basilica of St. Mary Major in the heart of Rome. The Pope's hearse, a converted Pope-mobile. And Francis had asked that his tomb be undecorated with a one-word inscription, Franciscus, his name in Latin. Leaders came from around the world paying their last respects to the Pope this morning, including President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, former President Joe Biden and former First Lady Jill, Ukrainian President.
Yeah. And for all the chatters that don't know, Pope Francis spent the last 12 years packing the voting cardinals with his own appointees, so the next Pope will be someone of the same vein, though none of the current frontrunners have been Jesuits the same as Francis did. Yeah. Tagley is literally considered Francis' successor by many Catholic insiders. Dude, there's so much tea. And I love that all the girlies are in on the inside baseball of the fucking conclave. Is crazy. We shouldn't know this much in general. We should not know this much. I think it's the movie. The conclave movie kind of did a number on this generation. Maybe that was part of it. I don't know what it is. But I literally went to Catholic high school from preschool to high school. Okay, Catholic school from preschool to high school. I mean, even then, it's like, why the fuck is everybody so laser focused on this?
Vladimir Zelensky and Prince William. Pallbearers carried Francis's coffin out of St. Peter's Basilica and into the square where the funeral mass was held. His casket was placed under the balcony where he first appeared as Pope 12 years ago. The gospel laid out on top of his coffin.
Per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen. Around 200,000 people attended the Pope's funeral mass.
God shows no partiality.
And the first reading was done by an American journalist, Kelsey Jussie. 91-year-old Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re remembered Francis in his homily as a unifying force in a rapidly changing world.
He gave of himself by comforting and encouraging us with a message capable of reaching people's hearts in a direction.
Yeah, there were Palestinian flags at the funeral as well. Palestinian flags at the funeral of the Pope today because God forbid anything about them, or anything won't be about them for 5 seconds, says Uri Kurlianchik, Jewish Zionist, ex-Soviet Israeli geek author, blah, 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 whatever. Fucking so goddamn butthurt, dude. Yeah. God forbid Palestinian humanity is recognized by a fucking Pope that offered infinitely more support. These people are so insane, dude. Just stay mad, loser. Nobody likes your fucking apartheid state, okay? It sucks, and you suck too. Suck my dick. God. Yeah. God forbid the Catholics in Palestine mourn the death of the Pope. In between getting bombed, in between getting their lives and their churches destroyed by the Israeli state. I think Pope Francis is a large reason why my Catholic grandma has become incredibly pro-Palestine. Hell yeah. Yeah, here's some other cool shit that he did, by the way. Final honor guard for Pope Francis included migrants, prisoners, transgender people, the homeless, and others selected by Vicariate, is that how you say it? I don't know how to fucking say that word, of Rome as a symbol of the late Pope's mission and inclusion of outreach. That they should be the ones to welcome Pope Francis' coffin in the Basilica is because these people are those who represent the focus of his mission. They are those who live on the peripheries, geographical and existential peripheries. Father Giulio Albanese, head of a missionary cooperation and a communication for the Vicariate of Rome. It is from 2023, not during his funeral. Oh, wow. You mean to tell me that a pro-Israeli account is also spreading fake news? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm so shocked that someone who's pro-Israel lied. Oh, my God. What a shocking moment. It's like breathing. For people who want to defend the apartheid state of Israel, doing a genocide, to lie is like, the sun coming up tomorrow. It's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. It is so insane that the hospital talking point they're going with is, the world is talking so much about Palestinians. Like, why can't they shut up? Yeah. Guarding the funeral of the Pontiff with a sci-fi drone jamming mega gun is maybe the most Warhammer 40K coded thing to ever happen in the real world. Yeah, it is pretty wild. The anti-drone guns are crazy looking. Oh, Donald Trump also wore a blue suit and was the only one in the crowd. Like, the photos are so funny because, like, obviously you're not supposed to wear, it's a fucking funeral, right? Like, there is a dress code. And the one thing that you're not supposed to do is wear something that's not black. And Donald Trump straight up wore a blue suit, a navy blue suit to the Pope's funeral because he is exactly that kind of guy. Okay. He's that bitch. He said, I am that bitch. I will be wearing a suit that is not black to the fucking Pope's funeral because this is all about me. Classic diva behavior.
Correct. An immediate way.
And a striking moment. World.
Like, look at this. Look at it. Everyone, with the exception of like the Cardinals and shit, like it's not even navy, just blue. It was bait. What do you mean it was bait? Literally, he stands out.
Leaders exchanging the sign of peace with one another afterward. Now there will be 9 days of formal mourning, and then the cardinals will be meeting, and at some point they'll set a date for that conclave when the successor to Pope Francis will be chosen. Whit?
All right, Terry, I mean, just a remarkable morning. Hundreds of thousands of people.
Not even like a dark blue. He's just standing out. He's like, fuck it, YOLO.
Seeing them lining the streets of Rome. But I want to ask you, though, in your days covering the passing of Pope Francis and his funeral today, is there a moment or conversation you had that will stay with you beyond this experience?
Well, with certainly the few conversations, brief conversations that I had with Pope Francis, just as a reporter on his plane, he made a point of coming back and talking.
Is this suit really that big of a deal? No, dude. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. I'm just pointing it out because he's such a goddamn diva that he wanted to stand out. Okay? That's the reason why he did that. That's it. It's debunked anyways. LMFAO. What do you mean debunked? Why do you keep saying debunked? It's bait because it's debunked. It's debunked anyways. What are you talking about? It's debunked. Was he not wearing fucking blue or not? What are my eyes deceiving me? Was he not wearing a fucking blue suit? Am I crazy? I saw the photos. What the fuck is debunked? Wider pics show other blue suits. Okay, you're the president of the United States of America. What do you mean debunked? Others were. HasanAbi, don't die on this hill, man. I don't care. Who gives a fuck? What do you mean? That doesn't debunk the situation. You're supposed to wear a fucking black suit to a funeral, okay? What difference does that make? Oh, others were wearing blue too. Oh, okay, got it. I guess you debunked it. Don't die on this hill. I don't even give a shit. Like, it doesn't even fucking matter. Everyone is supposed to wear black regardless. It's a fucking funeral. What do you mean? People that don't do that are doing that because they are, you know, they're trying to make it all about themselves, okay? I feel like that's the type of thing he would criticize about someone he doesn't like. What? Oh, Trump absolutely would, but I don't even give a fuck. I don't, you know, I'm not operating off of like Trump's ethics here or his moral boundaries. I don't give a shit.
To us, and he had.
Not only do I not give a shit that Trump didn't wear a black suit, I'm just bringing it up because he deliberately chose not to wear black because he is a fucking diva.
Gift for connection, didn't he? And I'm thinking, in particular, somebody I met here in the square the other day, Mohammed Daoud. He was born in Sudan, family fled camp in Chad. They went to Libya, civil war broke out there.
They're saying this is debunked because the wider photo presented shows other people wearing, you know, different colors as well. And it's like, okay, who gives a fuck? Are they the president of the United States of America? If not, nobody cares. I mean, look at fucking Melania, dude. Like, she knows what's up. Yeah, this person's wearing grayish as well, if you want to get really into the nitty gritty. But, you know, look at her. Melania even had a hijab on. Yeah, she's actually found the light of Allah. That's why she was hiding her hair.
They ended up in one of those rubber boats across the Mediterranean, and he met Pope Francis. And he said, this is a man who understood me, who connected with me. And he felt close to this man. Muhammad is a Muslim, but he felt close to Pope Francis in that way that so many people did. He had that gift, a charisma of connection, of touch. And I think that's how he'll be remembered. And it's a gift to the church that he leaves behind.
Wow, what a powerful, powerful message. All right, Terry, thank you so much.
8 weeks after their explosive showdown in the Oval.
Yeah, look. This was debunked, see? There's a person wearing blue here. There's a couple other people wearing navy in the back, it seems. Debunked, Debunk. Like, what are you debunking? You're the fucking president, dude. What the fuck is so stupid? Hasan called a mantilla a hijab. Catholicism is truly the only religion rejected by society. Sad. Hold on. Debunked. I thought you didn't care. I don't. But I also find it really annoying where people go, this is going to be a big deal. People are going to yell at you about this. It's like, dude, Donald Trump has exploded global trade, destroying due process. Literally, his administration, his administration just arrested a fucking judge. And you think this is going to be the major point of contention? Yeah, it'll become a major point of contention only if you're the dumbest person on the planet that allows Republicans to fucking dominate discourse like this, okay? Oh my God. Donald Trump, the most Hitlerian American president, okay? The most Hitlerian an American president has gotten in the last multiple decades. And these guys are like, well, actually, him wearing a blue suit wasn't that big of a deal. You're making it. Hold on. Yeah, the administration. No, Fiona. No, Fiona. JD not at the funeral. Yeah, he wasn't allowed for some reason.
Office president.
Yeah, they don't let the assassin come to the fucking funeral, dude.
Trump and Zelensky came together again, this time with encouragement from Emmanuel Macron instead of the incendiary interventions of Vice President Vance. Both sides calling these talks constructive, held in the grandeur of St. Peter's, just steps from a pope who'd long advocated an end to the war. Zelensky went on to have separate meetings with European leaders, President Macron and Sir Keir Starmer among them, an opportunity to coordinate on how to reach a ceasefire that might safeguard Ukrainian security.
Mr. President, how did the meeting with Trump go?
Really well. Productive meeting. I don't want to go to a lot of details if it's possible, because the questions, very sensitive questions on, of course, totally it's about how to bring peace.
On X, Zelensky said a good meeting with Trump had covered protecting the lives of our people, full and unconditional ceasefire, reliable and lasting peace that will prevent another war from breaking out, and calling it a very symbolic meeting that has potential to become historic if we achieve joint results. Under the deal being pushed by the Trump administration, Russia would retain control of the territory it currently occupies. It would, for now, give up any claim on parts of those regions that Ukraine still holds. But the US proposal that Washington would recognize Crimea as legally Russian, even if...
Catholic conspiracy dropped. Opus Dei was due to vote on a new set of statutes, which have been rammed down his throat by the Vatican at a meeting this week. But within hours of Francis' death, the vote was quietly canceled. A thread. Wait, what? When he died on Monday, Pope Francis had been on the cusp of signing into canon law a huge reform of Opus Dei, an abusive call to the heart of the church. Those reforms may now never happen. Dude, Opus Dei was due to vote on a new set of statutes, which have been rammed down his throat by the Vatican at a meeting this week. But within hours of Francis' death, the vote was quietly canceled. This comes after years of Opus Dei dragging its feet. Francis issued a decree demanding reform in July 2022. It came after allegations the group was involved in human trafficking and enslaving young girls. Opus Dei demurred. It submitted revisions. Dude, I don't know anything about this. Dude, maybe JD. Wait, hold on. What's this DEI stuff? Yeah, Opus DEI, more like. All right, let's
Ukraine
keep
will not
going. Trump criticized Putin after Zelensky meeting at
required to appears to be a red line for Kyiv.
What is really crucial is to have direct communication, direct dialogue between Trump and between Zelensky, because in this way we can remove lots of misunderstandings which have accumulated so far. So for me, it's a very good sign what has happened, and I'm really hopeful.
The objective clearly to use a few snatched minutes in Rome to try to shift the perception of the US president. Trump's response was a masterclass in burying the lead. Having attacked a New York Times reporter, Presidents Obama and Biden, he eventually added, with all of that being said, there was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along and has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Too many people are dying. Hours earlier, Trump had called his envoy Steve Witkoff's latest meeting with the Russian president pretty good. Today, the Kremlin saying Putin had communicated Russia's willingness to negotiate with Ukraine without preconditions. Also today, Putin briefed on what Russia's army chief called the total defeat of Ukrainian forces inside Russia's Kursk region, for the first time confirming the involvement of North Korean soldiers. Ukraine's military said it was continuing to fight inside Russia. After weeks of intensifying US and Russian pressure on Kyiv, this has, it seems, been a good day for Ukrainian diplomacy. Will it last? As with so much these days, a question for Donald Trump.
Well, Harry Fawcett then. Joining me now is Keir Giles, who's director of the Conflict Studies Research Centre and a senior consulting fellow of the Russia and Eurasia programme at the think tank Chatham House. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. First of all, that extraordinary picture, what do you make of it?
Well, it depends which extraordinary picture we're talking about, whether it's the postings from Donald Trump on Truth Social, which we may or may not want to read into some genuine meaning, or the two sitting down together with that very different body language, Trump and...
I mean, it's funny because it's like, there's not, like, Trump is so wishy-washy on everything that what he said today is ultimately meaningless tomorrow. Like, he could just as well come out tomorrow and be like, Vladipoo, I love you. You can keep bombing Ukraine. You have all the right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's fake. He's phony. He is a fake friend, okay? He is untrustworthy. He is not a trustworthy person. He changes his mind all the time. Or rather, maybe he doesn't have a mind to change at all. He's just kind of going off. He's just kind of going on whims.
And Zelensky actually having a conversation without being played live to the media and without J.D. Vance in the room, both of which have got to be absolutely positives. Now, of course, we won't know what was discussed and we won't know what impact it will have. We have to bear in mind that at the same time as that conversation was ongoing, Putin's meeting with Trump's consigliere, Steve Witkoff, will also be bringing back another point of view from Russia, which will also have an impact on Trump. So we simply cannot tell just how much of a lasting difference this is going to make, but it's definitely a step forward for Ukraine.
I mean, of course, if you consider that extraordinary picture of the two men in the Vatican, none of these things are accidental, one assumes. What is it at this point for both men that may have changed, given the pretty dreadful relationship they've had in recent weeks?
Well, I think we should be careful saying none of this is accidental. I doubt either of them actually planned a working funeral. But nevertheless, the fact that the opportunity has been created for Zelensky to get his point across to President Trump shows the extent of support for Ukraine across Europe. And let's not forget there are these two parallel so-called peace processes, neither of which has actually met in the middle at all. What Russia is demanding in terms of surrender for Ukraine and is now being enforced on Ukraine by the United States, and what those countries that actually think Ukraine's continued survival and viability is important for their own security across Europe think is the absolute minimum for preserving that going into the future. Now, what we've not seen so far is any way of bringing those two together.
I mean, you talk about the social media posts, and as you say, it's very difficult to read huge amounts, I suppose, into social media posts. It was just a 15-minute meeting, but the tone from both men seems to have shifted quite dramatically. You know, Zelensky talking about, potential for this being a sort of historic moment.
Well, Zelensky has to be positive about meetings with Trump. We've shown what happens when he tries to introduce reality and conversations with the White House. It's disastrous. So he is always upbeat about them. We shouldn't be that surprised. We shouldn't necessarily be surprised about a change of tone from Donald Trump, because this is not the first time he has been critical towards Putin. Each time it happens, we read the tea leaves. We try to divine what's behind his Truth Social posts. We see if it actually has a meaning and will be followed through with action, but it never actually comes to pass. All of these occasional sporadic complaints that we've had against President Putin and his unwillingness to bring the fighting to an end never actually lead to any pressure on Russia whatsoever.
So in a sense, no change in terms of how Vladimir Putin might respond. Will he respond at all?
There's no reason to suspect that Vladimir Putin will respond in any way to this unless and until the United States changes its attitude to bringing this war to an end and actually starts to inflict some pressure on Russia as well as on Ukraine itself. Otherwise, Vladimir Putin has no incentive to change his policy or what his military is doing on the front line. After all, why would he sign up to a ceasefire if, as it appears, he is convinced that actually Russia holds the military advantage at the moment?
And what about the other countries involved in the wider discussions, including Britain and France? We saw President Macron and Keir Starmer here today. You know, they've offered to send troops. Is that still on the table, do you think? Is that a persuasive part of this argument?
It's very hard to tell where those behind-the-doors discussions about potential European troops in Ukraine actually stand at the moment. The talk of the coalition of the willing to try to uphold some kind of peace settlement in Ukraine has gone cold. And more recently, we hear reporting in British media that actually the UK has said, no, it's not feasible to put a force into Ukraine, after Keir Starmer walked back that original proposal by saying it's not possible without the Americans. So where that stands exactly, we simply cannot tell from the outside. But there is a clear understanding that Ukraine needs some kind of ongoing support in order to deter Russia from attacking again, if and when there is any form of ceasefire arrived at. And that's one of the main sticking points between the two visions of how the war might come to an end. One of them is effectively imposing all of Russia's terms on Ukraine. That's the US position. The other one, the European idea, says that there has to be some kind of sustainable and durable ceasefire, and that means making sure that Russia does not feel it's able to attack again.
Keir Giles, going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much for talking to us this evening.